Hi, Shilpi.
Hi Sheba, so lovely to be here with you.
Lovely, and welcome to Soul Brews with Sheba. Welcome to Coffee and Soul. It's such a pleasure to host you and have you here with me. Thank you so much for making the time, Shilpi.
Thank you. I think it's my pleasure to always having a conversation with you is always great. So I took the opportunity to be here with you in the show.
Lovely, lovely to have you here. So, shall we just raise? You have your cup of coffee with you.
Yes,
Just
cheers.
raise a toast
Yes,
to life,
absolutely.
Shilpi, and to great conversations. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Mm, okay, that's great. Shilpi, I'm going to ask you to keep your cup of coffee in your hands. If you can
Okay,
just have it in your between your palms, just
sure.
hold the cup of coffee, and then just
Hmm.
sit back and relax and close your eyes. Breathe easy and just relax. And are there any images that come to your mind? And if they do, what are they?
Clear blue sky, absolutely gorgeous blue sky and mountains.
Okay. What else are you seeing?
Me sitting in the mountain with my coffee, soaking the sun, and just having a good time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us. What do the mountains mean to you? Blue skies and mountains, and you can open your eyes, put down your coffee cup. But what does this image mean to you?
See, anything to do with nature is beautiful, and every time you go in the nature, you feel relaxed. You know, it's like breathing.
Mm, mm,
You actually breathe when you are with nature. You
mm,
don't have to uh, work hard to breathe. Your breath becomes easy. You
mm,
just, it's like meditation.
mm,
You let loose and you let the thoughts pass, and you're
mm,
in the moment,
mm, mm,
and you see the glory of nature
mm.
and the generosity of nature.
Yeah.
It just makes you more human, I feel.
Mm, absolutely. Yeah. Um, so, and you do a lot of this, like you do a lot of traveling, and you
Yeah,
also have a travel company called Unhotel,
that's right.
and you do a lot of taking people to these beautiful places. And how did you chance upon that? What made you set this up, Shilpi? Because you're a coach, I know, but even going ahead and doing this, what was the driver?
So I think for me, life has been more of a serendipity
Mm,
and going with the flow. I've not planned too many things. I'm not a life planner.
mm,
I do plan my stuff, but I'm not like a very long time planner of life.
mm.
I've also have a life partner who believes in being in now and going with the flow. So we've always done things a little differently. We quit our jobs and we started a homestay in Gurgaon 10 years ago when we
Right.
shifted to Gurgaon. We love to have people in our homes. And after 4 5 years of running the homestay, we thought, okay, what next? And where does it take us? And we started a second homestay, which my mother runs in Banaras. It's called
Yes.
Granny's Inn.
Right.
And we were doing a workshop with another friend of mine who's also a wonderful coach like you. And her only condition to do her retreat there was that Manish and I should attend the retreat
Mm.
as participants, as not as organizers.
Yes. Yes, I can
So it
understand.
was called Krishna Consciousness,
Mm.
and it happened on the day of Janmashtami. And it was a 3 day retreat on designing your life.
Okay. All right.
And I think Unhotel was born in those 3 days of reflection and conversation.
Really? Oh, that's amazing. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where has it taken you?
To places,
Yeah.
to a lot of places. We've enjoyed this journey of Unhotel because it it took me away from the city to places where I felt more myself,
Mm.
where you actually learn to live in now. Travel for me is meeting people,
Mm.
new culture, And especially when you go to offbeat places and you meet simple people
Mm.
who actually live in now,
Yes.
you start imbibing those things in your life consciously, unconsciously,
Mm.
and you start seeing a different perspective to life as well.
Mm.
So I think for me, personally, that's what Unhotel has done. That
Mm.
personally travel has helped me let go of a lot of inhibitions,
Mm.
not to use this loo and not to touch that, and
Mm.
being absolutely sanitized all the time. It has helped me to
Mm.
actually let go of that extra extreme sanitization of
Mm. Mm.
life, which we do in cities,
Mm.
and enjoy drinking water from the stream and eating on the roads, and just going by the flow.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
And
That's yeah.
uh, professionally, yes, it has grown in 5 years. Though we are not into the kind of growth which you see these days with tech companies and
Mm.
online companies, we are more organic growth
Sure.
kinds. So we're
Sure.
growing slowly, organically, building relationship with every property, every guest who travel with us.
Yeah. And I think that's much more, probably much more gratifying, and also long term. It's a very good strategy, in order to make it continue to grow, and because I guess it brings a certain quality, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. And we are happy having 500 guests who travel with us regularly rather
Yeah.
than trying to have the entire universe traveling with us.
Sure. Yeah. 500 guests is a great number, should be.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for us. We're happy with that.
Yeah. That's fabulous. So tell me a little more about your life. What's the journey been like? Your highs, your lows, some of your defining moments. Some things that made you stop in your tracks and say, okay, and like an aha, like something like that, or something that changed for you. What were they?
So I'll be 50 in a couple of years, three
Mm.
years to be precise. So I think that life has been pretty long that way. But I don't know where to begin. But perhaps, you know, if I want to begin, maybe it begins with my when my father passed away suddenly in a car accident, and
Mm.
I was a student,
Mm.
and how just life changed after that
Mm.
immediately.
Mm.
I first time realized how people change, circumstances change, and in one go things can just change.
Mm. Mm.
So what COVID has done to a lot of people today, I think I had my COVID moment then, when
Mm.
you suddenly have to reorganize your priorities. You have to change your perspective of looking at things
Mm.
and take responsibility, even if you're too young, and kind of that. But when my father went, it took me some time to start living life joyfully.
Mm.
Every time I used to go with my friends for a movie, for example, I used to feel very bad. I used to feel very guilty of enjoying life when he's not around,
Mm.
and enjoying when my mother is going through that, pain
Mm.
of an agony and pain, and she was in depression. But over a period of time, I learned to kind of live life as it comes, and also
Mm.
realize that life doesn't stop for anyone,
Mm. Mm.
and therefore nobody is so important and so attached that your life doesn't go without that person.
Mm.
So you have to be complete in your own self, and then only you can be complete in relationships as well.
Mm. Absolutely. And is that something you consciously keep working on, Shilpi? Is that consciously there in your awareness a lot of the time?
It is.
Mm.
It is because also what happened was my brother fell into alcoholism,
Okay. Mhm.
and he was elder to me. Manish and I, my husband and I, we tried a lot to help him come out of it, and we went through our journey. And I remember in Bombay, I used to visit every church in Bandra, Santa Cruz, car alternate days,
Mm.
going to Alcoholic Anonymous meetings with him.
Mm.
And I just just being there and listening to people's journeys, it would make me so grounded, I can't tell you. But
Mm,
also what happened, I used to try so hard to get him out of it. You know how alcoholism, in the morning he would say,
mm.
no, I will not drink. And it doesn't work like that.
No, no.
And I would say, everybody's working so hard and we still are not able to do anything. And I used to feel really bad. And then another friend of mine with whom I did my coaching certification, and she's also a life coach and a therapist, lovely person. Um, Vici and I used to spend a lot of time talking together. And I think with her, this awareness came back because she said, Shilpi, you have to do things which you do if it's your responsibility and duty. And you're doing it's beautiful that you're doing it, but you cannot get attached to the outcome.
Mm, mm,
It's
mm.
not in your hand.
Sure. Yeah.
You can do whatever you are doing as a sister,
Mm,
but you cannot get attached to the outcome.
mm,
So I think again, I revisited that whole space of a certain kind of non-attachment, even with people who are important to you.
mm,
So there has to be a sense of detached attachment.
absolutely.
And I think
Yeah.
since then, it's been pretty much in the awareness.
Mm, mm. Okay, what else? Tell me more about your journey.
Okay, the something else which I really believe in is that if you really believe in something, it happens that way.
Mm, mm,
And I won't say that I've always lived with that consciousness, but whenever I've lived with that consciousness, it has happened.
mm, mm,
It has happened that way. And um, yeah, so again, it's a journey because it's easy to say these things, but when you're going through tough times, when you're going through your lows,
mm.
and then you think, then you deviate from these thought processes,
Yes.
and then somebody will point out, but this is not you, this is not you being authentic, you're saying
Mm,
something and you're doing something,
mm, mm,
which is true, which I acknowledge and I accept. There are times which as coach, there are things which we question,
mm.
and we try and help people reflect on those things.
Sure.
But when it comes to your own life, there's sometimes when you're not able to follow those same
Mm,
principles.
mm, mm,
It has happened with me. For example, fearlessness,
mm,
or working from a space of fearlessness.
mm.
I, as I said, I lost my father very early. So there was a certain sense of financial insecurity which
Sure.
came very early in life. And when we quit a job and we took in entrepreneurship, and this entrepreneurship was not a scaled version of doing things, it was
Mm,
more a lifestyle
mm,
work that we were doing. So I always had this sense of financial insecurity, and would work from that space, which would create a lot of rift and tension within the family,
mm,
because I was working from that space of insecurity.
mm,
And for a long, long time, I did that.
mm.
And my coach friends, my luckily I have a lot of mentors and coach friends, so they would always point it out. And I started working on it by reading more, by reflecting more, by being more conscious of it, of being in the moment, as I said. And travel really helped in that,
Sure.
because when you see simple people living simple life, you also question yourself. So what more can go wrong? What is the worst? What is the lowest? What
Mm,
do you really need to live?
mm, mm,
uh, and things like that. So I think somewhere unconsciously I was also attached to the past, and I did work on it. And I remember this year, early year in January, we were in Run of Kutch with a group I had taken, a women group I had taken. And there also, one day in just fun, we were doing some tarot reading. And this friend of mine, again, she's a life coach as well. She said, "Okay, I'll do your tarot." And the card came out again that, I
mm,
am attached to my past. And when COVID happened, I was just used to spend a lot of time watching some Facebook stuff which used to happen, and a lot of people were doing free tarot readings, and I would just log into them, and and I've never done that, but I don't know what happened. I just thought I'll do
mm,
that,
mm,
and similar card came. I
mm.
kept on saying, "Please read my card, please read my card," and then she picked up my card, and I just thought that the universe is giving me some signal.
Really speaking to you. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know, Sheba, magic happened.
Mm,
I just
mm,
dropped. that passed right there.
Mm. Mm.
And it's from March till now. It's going to be December, and we were in a travel business which completely was halted,
Yes, I
and
know.
it was in a catastrophic zone
Yeah.
of business repercussions. But something happened, and I didn't work from the space of fear even a single day. I just
Amazing,
thought I
amazing.
just thought something will happen and we'll do something, and that's when Manish and I, we worked on our strengths, on our communication, storytelling,
Mm.
and we took the digital storytelling part of it little more seriously, and reached
Mm.
out to people and
Mm.
acquired businesses. And today Studio 4 has become quite a global company. We're doing business with people across the globe, helping them build their communication strategies. And yeah, and I feel
Amazing.
it happened only because I was able to drop that sense of fear.
What a story. And I think that's so inspiring, Shilpi. And
I also feel more authentic now, Shiva, because I
mm,
remember last year I took a session with one of the companies which was about fearless leadership, and I remember telling my colleagues I cannot take this because I'm not a fearless person. I
mm,
do operate from fear, space of fear. And she said, no, no, you take this session. So I went in the session and I told my participants, hey, I might as well be sitting with you guys,
mm,
because I am not the best person to do this session, because I have not yet reached
mm,
the space of working from fearlessness.
mm,
I think everything was happening because it had to happen.
mm,
But today
mm.
I feel more authentic when I talk about working from the space of fearlessness and just being in present and going with the flow, and just do what you believe in.
That's wonderful. And I'm so happy that to hear this, Shilpi, and so happy for you for the kind of space that you find yourself in today. That's fabulous.
Thank you so much.
So, what would be, looking at your journey? What would be your metaphor for life? What's your go-to thought or your go-to? Is there something like that? It could be a couple, it could be many, but some things that inspire you to keep going.
I think one principle which works for me is people operate from different sense of um, what drives them.
Mm,
Uh, for me, I always feel I'm more of a karma yogi.
mm, mm,
So I believe in doing things, even if
mm.
I'm feeling low, even if I feel that work is answer to any and every problem out there. If you're doing something which is purposeful, meaningful,
Mm.
and work does not mean that you're doing something just to earn money.
Sure.
It could be anything. It could be volunteering in an organization. It could be teaching children. It could be underprivileged children. It could be just being there for a friend. And if you think you have those strength of being a mentor or a coach, just being there for them and listening to them and having that conversation. But having some purpose,
Mm.
and doing work which is in the context of that purpose, is something which drives me and which I feel firmly believe in for myself.
Yeah, and it's wonderful that you say this because it is so true. I mean, most of the time we are considering work is equivalent to what you earn through the work, and that's what makes it work. But
Yeah.
work is work, regardless of, I mean, whether you're folding some sheets in your room, or whether you're working with someone voluntarily, as you said, or you're, just putting things into gear, things that you like doing, and that is work too. So I think this is a huge one because in our world we tend to link
Yeah.
monetary accomplishment with work. So unless and until you're earning through something, it's not work. So
Yeah.
fabulous to hear that, Shilpi, because
That's
that's
one, and I
something I
also feel
resonate
it
with.
in today's time, especially when mental health is becoming a big challenge.
Mm,
It perhaps was always, but today people are talking more about it, and people
mm,
are coming out and open. I also feel, and I'm not an expert, and I'm not a doctor or a psychologist, but personally, I feel that when you reach out and when you help people around you, it just makes you feel good about your own self. it
mm,
it makes you feel happier.
mm,
And yeah, more fulfilled. So personally, I feel that if we are able to do that, if we are able to help other people, perhaps, and I might be wrong, uh, it it's a good way of helping oneself.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Is there anything you feel you could have done differently in your life, Shilpi?
I could have been less fearful and therefore more present in the moment, and could have enjoyed more the kind of rifts Manish and I used to have. And it largely was from my fearful nature, because he's very fearless. Perhaps we could have enjoyed that a little more, I think. But I also feel both of us are very passionate people.
Mm.
So even the tensions used to be pretty passionate. And it's okay, we love it that way.
Sure.
We love it that way, yeah.
It's your equation,
Otherwise,
right?
no, I think it's been a beautiful journey. It's been a lovely journey, and I feel everything which happens for a reason. It teaches you something, and I feel that everything which happened very early in my life, all those challenges, difficulties, not so early. I was in college,
Mm.
not so early. Um, it it kind of made me very resilient, adaptable, agile, open to new things,
Mm.
and I think that today those are the things which are coming very handy when we, as entrepreneurs, we keep on trying new things. Those lessons are quite handy and quite useful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, who are some of the people, or what are some of the things that have influenced you and continue to influence your life?
It's very strange. I'm very people person. I mean, people inspire me.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not a voracious reader,
Yeah.
but I love to have a lot of engagement with people. But whenever someone asks this, I could start kind of thinking, who are those people who inspired me? Some of my teachers in my school,
Mm.
because we went to a simple convent school, but the
Mm.
but the effort which our teachers used to take, uh, in our nowadays we call it holistic development. There was nothing
Mm.
like that at that point of time. These
Mm.
words were not there, holistic
Mm.
development.
Mm.
But my history teacher, Mrs. Padmanabhan, one of my English teacher, how they worked so hard to for us to be successful in whatever we were doing at that point of time. To,
Mm.
when I say successful, again, and not in terms of outcome, but in terms of the learning process,
Mm. Mm.
that was lovely. Of course, my father, very simple man with very simple needs. He used to live this, we call it minimalistic living today,
Mm.
but he always lived like that, and
Mm.
always helped people around, very righteous as far as his work was concerned.
Mm.
So I think those are some of the qualities which I have unconsciously imbibed from him as well. So he's there. One of my mentors, Nora Casey, uh, I met her 2 years ago, and I can't thank universe enough to
Mm.
to connect me with her, and that she's my mentor. And then multiple people,
Mm.
multiple women entrepreneurs from across the globe, and some of them are very, very close friends. Very difficult for me to pinpoint
Yes. Yes.
one or two, but yeah.
Mm. 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 Wonderful. So, yeah, and it's amazing, right? The kind of role people play in our lives and how they shape us, how they bring out different aspects about us, which oftentimes we don't even recognize that those are the things that we need. And it just comes up, and
Yeah.
attributes that we didn't know that exist inside us just kind of pop up because somebody inspires it in us. And have you had that experience? Shilpi?
Many a times,
Yeah.
Sheba, because we ran a homestay. So
Mm.
we had new people in our house every day.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's another thing which I perhaps could have said that time, that yeah, I live in complete trust. So though
Mm.
I operate from space of fear, but my fear was more financial insecurity
Sure. Sure.
rather than anything else.
Sure.
But otherwise, I'm a person who can trust the universe completely.
Mm.
So we
Mm.
had new people in our house
Mm.
almost on a daily basis.
Mm. Mm.
And some of those people, they have been so amazing. They have become
Mm.
mentors in our lives. They have been our friends. They've been our anchors.
Yeah.
So I'm very blessed that, it was like God sending you another person in your life
Amazing,
every day.
amazing. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so we had this lady called Lady Lee. Her name was Lee, but we had a male guest at that point of time who was also Lee. So she became Lady Lee. And Lady Lee had come from England to volunteer for non-for-profit school on Sona Road in
Mm,
Gurgaon.
mm,
She was 65, around 65, and imagine coming all the way because that
mm,
was her calling. And I, I have not met another person like her.
mm,
So
mm,
selfless, so giving, so happy, so contented.
mm.
She had a magical impact on every person living in my house at that point
Amazing,
of time.
amazing. So it's a really amazing, huh? That you've been drawing this kind of energy, and it's been obviously giving a lot to you, and probably you giving a lot to them as well. So that's wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm very, very thankful to universe that they have universe has sent some amazing people,
sure, sure,
to us.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Wonderful. Shilpi, what do you think is your unique legacy to humankind? I mean, I believe every individual has something very unique that they offer as a gift, and nobody else does because you're totally unique. What do you think is your unique gift to to people?
So I feel that I like to be present for people when they need
Mm,
something, and it could be not just money. It could be a patient listener. It could be somebody who's just with you when you're going through your not the best times in life.
mm,
I feel I'm drawn towards that,
mm,
and I I like to be there for people at the time when they're going through tough times in some way or the other.
yeah,
And yeah, I feel that um, that's my gift
yes,
to the universe. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I'm drawn towards it automatically.
sure. Yeah, I
No,
understand.
nothing that I feel that, oh, I'm doing this great thing, but I think it just comes to me.
Yeah, and that's the time when it's the most powerful is when it's natural.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I feel
so
so. Yeah,
yeah.
I do feel that I am an empathetic person, and
Mm,
I'm able to share empathy with people around me.
mm, that's beautiful. Banaras, and I want to touch upon that. Did you grow up there? And was that well, how? It's such a beautiful city. I just am so much in love with Banaras. But tell me about it. Were you a local of
No,
Banaras?
I wasn't. I
Okay.
grew up in Jharkhand. We belong to Bihar, but my mother's side, they had their homes built in Banaras. So my mother's cousin had this house, and she came and stayed with us in our homestay, and she felt, wow, these people have new people coming in every day,
Yeah,
and she thought it was very interesting.
yeah.
She also had lost her husband. She also had some personal challenges,
Mm,
and this house was had come to her as part of hereditary, which was given to her by her father. So she asked us if we could help her in doing establishing a homestay there, and my mother was very keen to help her.
mm,
So we were a little skeptical, but then I said, who would run the homestay? We are
mm,
here. Then they
mm.
said, oh, we will run the homestay. So that's how it started. We went there. The house was dilapidated. It was just falling,
Mm,
crumbling.
mm.
But I think once, as I said, once you put the intention there, then it just happens.
Sure.
Like this was another incident wherein I was very sure that I want to make it happen, and it will happen.
Mm,
Manish was very skeptical initially.
mm,
He's very particular about his brand name and his services
mm,
and feedback and this and that. And I said, it will just happen. He said, no, no, but the house requires so much of investment, so much of money. I said, everything will happen.
mm, mm,
And I have a very dear friend. Um, and I just mentioned that to him, and we required some amount of money to kind of redo the house. And he said, don't worry, I'll give you the money.
mm. Amazing. Mm.
And and he's never taken the money back, because he said you pay it forward to whosoever need
Mm.
it when they
Mm.
need it.
Mm.
And yeah, it created a beautiful journey for both the grannies, especially my mother, who
Mm.
found an identity,
Of
found a
course.
purpose,
Yes.
um, and has become a universal granny today.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm sure a lot of people are asked to go and chat with her and stay there, and I'm sure it must be a very, very enriching experience.
Yeah, and she's also very giving. She's also very empathetic, and she loves to welcome people in her home. So it just kind of fitted in very well, and the
Mm.
love which she gets from people around the world,
Mm.
love somewhere it's kind of filling in the void which got created very early in her life.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Wonderful that she found
But
this.
you're right, when we went there, Banaras is another place which has taught a lot. It has
Mm.
taught uh, it has taught me to take not to take life so seriously,
Mm. Mm.
because you could be enjoying your lassi, and there's somebody who's died and they're taking the
Mm.
body, and
Mm.
life and death
Live together in
live
Banaras.
together every moment.
Absolutely. Manikarnika, you just have to go and see it too.
Yeah, and on the way of Manikarnika Ghat is this blue lassi shop where
Yeah.
you obviously you go there and you sit
Yeah.
there and you're
Yeah.
having your lassi, and you
Yeah.
you're delightfully having your lassi, and you're seeing bodies after bodies going in front of you, and you're still enjoying your lassi.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
It's
think
a huge lesson. Yeah.
it just, without any framework
Yeah.
and anything, it just tells you this is life.
Exactly. Yes. And that is what makes this so, so special. The entire, particularly this journey to, I find, places like Banaras is, so it's amazing that you have a space there.
Yeah.
And, and,
Yeah. Also, it kinds of, you're a no one there.
yeah.
No one cares a damn who you are on the street. You know, so I always used to say, if you want to do a CEO coaching and want to help people really be more grounded, you just have to take them around Banaras,
That's very true. Very
and
true.
that city tells you you're
Yeah.
just a mortal human being.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and yeah, it's you're so right. You kind of deal with your mortality every day, and also how insignificant you are in
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. So totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's wonderful that we're speaking about this beautiful place right now, and so yeah. So, do you go there often, Shilpi?
I do go at least 4 to 5 times a year,
Mm.
but this year I haven't
Yeah,
been there.
this year, yes, this
Yeah,
year.
yeah. So
Yeah.
last year we did some really beautiful experiences there. For the first time, I did a Ram Leela experience in Banaras. So Banaras is
Mhm.
India's longest running Ram Leela, and it is very different from any other Ram Leela which you've seen. I've seen Ram Leela as kids also, but this
Yeah.
Ram Leela is an amazing again Ram Leela wherein the actors and the audience, they are together,
Wonderful. I didn't know
and
that. Oh,
and the audience
amazing.
participates in the act.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's a huge ground.
Yes.
So your acts also move from one part to the other part of the ground.
Amazing.
So the setting, the actors and the audience, they all move to
Oh,
different parts of the ground.
how interesting is that? It's
It
amazing.
it is so, but we've
Yeah.
not told those stories well, and it's beautiful. It's just
Yeah.
very very amazing. And when you go there, you have to sit on the ground.
Sure. Sure.
You cannot take your chair and sit on a chair and things like that, because my brother who's paralyzed, he can't sit on the ground, and we had an
Mm,
elderly lady, so
mm,
I had taken a couple of chairs for them.
mm, mm, mm.
But the villagers, they said, no, if you have to participate in
You have
Ram
to
Leela,
say.
then you have to
Mm.
sit on the ground.
उनकी प्रथा है. How can
Yeah.
we come in the way of that?
Yeah,
I
of course they
absolutely
help
understand.
them find another place in a
हाँ,
corner and that.
हाँ, हाँ, हाँ.
But again, as I said, they don't, nobody will care who you are.
Correct.
You are one amongst everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So thank you so much for sharing this with me. Is there any Anything that you'd like to say in closing? Anything you'd like to add? Anything, any message you'd like to give out to people who maybe are just starting their coaching journey and becoming coaches now? And anything that you'd like to say?
So, find senior coaches like Sheba to mentor you. I always believe that, as a coach, your responsibility increases because, I feel you're responsible for someone else's journey in those interactions. So, and deep coaching is something which doesn't come easy to everyone. And having the right mentor as your coach mentor is also very essential to learn things and to be able to help your coachees on the journey. And second is I have always shown my vulnerability to my coachees as well, and I think that's what make our repo so beautiful. And it's not about knowing everything. I can't claim to be knowing everything. My coaches could be sometimes much more knowledgeable than I am. But it's about being authentic and having an authentic conversation with them. So if we are able to do that, I think the journey starts. And of course, the more you
Fabulous.
practice, the more you read, the more you uh, meet people, and the experience teaches you a lot. But yeah.
Thank you so much, Shilpi. That's a very powerful message, and I'm sure a lot of people will gain a lot of strength and purpose from that. Thank you so much for the time that you have spent with me today on this Soul Brew. I've really enjoyed our conversation, and I look forward to picking it up again in Banaras together sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. And to everybody, I would like to say that I've always looked up to Sheba. Have not worked with her closely, tried to work, but haven't worked too much with her. But, you're very open, very giving person, Sheba. So thank you so much for being there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, you take care,
Yep.
and all the very best as you power on. All the very best, Shilpi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye
You
bye.
too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.